Find the inverse of g of t equals 1/3 sine 2t minus pi over 2 plus 5. What I like to do is g of t throws me off. I'm going to replace g of t with y and write it out like this. Is this a necessary step? Nope. But it helps me out because the extra parentheses has a tendency to throw my ADHD brain off, and I can't do it. Step number 1 is replace the x and the y. In my case, the y and the t. So t is now going to equal negative 1/3 sine 2y minus pi over 2 plus 5. I have to get sine all by itself. There's a negative 1/3 in the way. There's a 5 in the way. There's a 2 in the way. There's a negative pi over 2 in the way. Let's get rid of that 5 first by subtracting 5 from both sides. T minus 5 equals negative 1/3 sine 2y minus pi over 2. Now I'm going to get rid of that negative 1/3. I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 3 because it's the reciprocal. So I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 3. On the left side, I have distributive property. Negative 3t plus 15. These guys cancel out. It's going to equal sine 2y minus pi over 2. And if you're like, whoa, buddy, you left all that space there. I know. It's because my next step is to inverse sine both sides, and that gets rid of the sine. So inverse sine both sides cancels out the sine there. And what I'm left with, and let's move it up here, is the inverse sine of negative 3t plus 15 equals 2y minus pi over 2. Okay, in order to get y all by itself, I have to add pi over 2 to both sides. So let's add pi over 2. Let's add pi over 2, which doesn't combine to anything here. So that leaves me with pi over 2 plus the inverse sine of negative 3t plus 15 equals 2y. Last step is divide everything by 2. I'm actually going to multiply everything by a half because I think that'll just make it look a little bit more pleasant. So I'm going to multiply everything by a half because that allows me to cancel these guys out. So big distributive property times a half is going to give me half of pi over 2, which is pi over 4, plus half of the inverse sine of negative 3t plus 15. And that equals y. So last step is I'm going to swap sides, and I'm going to move that pi over 4 plus half of the inverse sine of negative 3t plus 15 and move the y to the left. But remember that it used to be g of t, so now I'm going to call it the inverse of g of t. Very, very, very busy problem. Very busy problem indeed.